Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Active English with Carl. So I wanted to make a video today about the future tense with a focus on the simple future tense. I'm gonna travel, I will travel. How does the simple future tense compare to the future perfect tense? By next summer, I will have traveled, or I will have been traveling. That's the future perfect. So I want to focus today on the simple future. All right, there's 5 different ways that native speakers commonly use to talk about future events. So I'm going to explore all of that in today's video. I'm Carl. I've been teaching English since 2007. I make videos on YouTube that are very simple. They're divided into 2 parts. The first part is where I do some teaching, some explanation, some review of the grammar, main points, form and function, and then the second part is where we practice. I give you some worksheets that I've used in the classroom that I know are effective. I know they work. All right. So let's get started. Let's explore a simple future today. I'm gonna travel. I will travel. All right. So let's begin. Okay, so let's get started. First, I just want to give you guys a little bit of overview as far as where does the simple future fit into the larger family of all the verb tenses in English. So just have a look at this slide here. There you can see that's just a nice summary of all the verb tenses in English. I've done videos on all of these. Today, we're just focusing on the verb tenses in green there. You can see simple future, and I'm going to talk also about the future progressive, but this video is not focused on the future perfect. I'm going to do another video on that. I'm going to talk just a little bit about that as far as how does it relate to the simple future. But today's video is just focused on the verb tenses there in green, which you see simple future and future progressive. Okay, so before we start, what is the difference between the simple future and the future perfect? Okay, there's a very subtle difference. The difference in these verb tenses is all about perspective. So do you know this word? Do you know perspective? Perspective is like vantage point, viewpoint, frame of reference. Like my perspective, I can see a camera. Your perspective, you can see me, right? If I come to Japan, for example, or I go to China to do like a study abroad program or to travel to China, that gives me perspective on Chinese culture or Japanese culture. If I go to Tokyo, right? That gives you, if you come to New York, that gives you a perspective on American culture. So this idea of perspective is really important to distinguish the simple future from the future perfect. Okay, in both of these verb tenses, we're talking about future events. Okay, the difference is the simple future, we are talking about the future, but our perspective, our frame of reference, our viewpoint is the present moment. With the future perfect, we're talking about the future, but our perspective, our viewpoint, our frame of reference is actually the future. And how do we do that? How do we shift our frame of reference into the future? We use the word by. Okay, the word by is a magical word. It's like a time machine. Okay, when you say by, you project your imagination into a future point. Okay, by next summer. Okay, by next summer. Imagine right now it's October as we speak. Okay, by next summer, I will have traveled to Japan. Okay, by next summer, I will have completed my master's degree. Okay, we're talking about actions that are completed at a future point. So the word by allows you to shift perspective into the future and then ask what has been accomplished, what has happened by that time. Okay, so that's really important to understand future perfect, using the word by to shift perspective. Okay, with the simple future, our perspective is the present moment. I'm talking about next summer. Next summer, I'm going to go to Japan. Next summer, I'm going to finish my master's degree. Next summer, I'm going to study for, a test, whatever. I'm talking about the future, but my perspective is the present. Okay, so that's a really important distinction as we go forward in this video. So I want to start by asking you guys the difference between these 2 sentences. These 2 sentences really highlight an important concept in this video. All right, we convey so much information in these verb tenses. We pack a lot of information, in these verb tenses. These two sentences highlight one of the nuances in meaning between I'm going to, that's simple future, I'm going to travel this weekend, or I'm going to help you, and I will help you, I'll travel. Okay, so have a look at these two sentences here. First one says, I'm gonna help you, and the second sentence says, I'll help you. All right, so what is the difference between these two sentences? Why do English speakers, why do native speakers have two different ways of expressing the same idea? Well, actually, it's not the same idea. There's a slight difference in connotation, in nuance, in meaning in these two sentences. So just have a look at those two. Think about those two for a minute. How are they different in your mind? I'm gonna help you, I'll help you. How are they different? Okay, so these two sentences are both simple future, right? We're talking about a future action, but our frame of reference is the present. So they're simple future. These are the two most common ways that native speakers talk about the future. I'm going to help you, I'll help you, okay? But they have very different meaning. If I say to you, I'm going to help you, it means that I've already decided, I've already planned to help you. Okay, it's in my planner. It's in my schedule. I've decided I'm going to help you at some point in the future. If I say I'll help you, it means I'm deciding right now. It's a much more spontaneous, more natural, more organic statement. Oh, I'll help you. So imagine a situation where you have a friend who is carrying grocery bags, and they're really heavy, and you see your friend, you're like, oh, do you need a hand? Do you need help with those grocery bags? I'll help you. Or do you need a ride to the airport? You were going to take an Uber, but there's no Uber. I'll help you. See, in those situations, the decision to help your friend is occurring to you right now. It's a very spontaneous moment of decision. So we say, I'll help you. We wouldn't say, oh, you need a ride to the airport? I'm going to help you. No, because I'm going to help you sounds like that's already been decided, right? If we talked about this maybe a week ago, we made plans. Oh yeah, remember we talked about this? I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a ride to the airport. Oh yeah, that's right. We made plans, okay? I'm gonna suggest planning, suggest deliberate action, intentional action. I'm going to help you. I'll help you is like it's spontaneous. I'll help you. I'll give you a ride. I'll help you with those bags, right? So it's a very spontaneous, very organic decision. In this moment, we say I'll. When we say I'm gonna, it suggests strongly that this action has already been decided in the past. Okay, so that's a big distinction between I'm gonna and I'll. Now, I should point out that I'm gonna and I'll, right, they are very different, but I will, if you say I will, that's very different from I'll, okay? I will and I'll, they're grammatically the same, right? I'll is just a reduction of I will. But when you say I will help you, it's like I promise. It's a very strong statement, okay? So I'm going to help you. That's already planned. I'll help you. Spontaneous decision right now. And I will help you. It's like, I promise, I will help you. I definitely will. I will help you. You can count on me. It's got a very strong association, okay? All right, so all right, let's have a look at all the different ways we talk about the future tense. This is a nice summary of the 5 main ways, the most typical ways that native speakers talk about future events. I should point out that the first 4, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, are talking about the future from the perspective of the present, okay? Number 5 is a unique sort of special animal. That's the future progressive. And that is actually used sometimes with the word by. And remember the word by, as I mentioned, it's a very magical word. It's like a time machine. It shifts your perspective into the future when you say by. So number 5, that's a little caveat to what I said before. Number 5 is talking about the future from the perspective of the future. But for numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're talking about the future from the perspective of the present. Okay, so let's have a look at each one of these in more detail. Number 1, I'm going to travel this weekend, okay? A formal expression would be I'm going to travel. That's how we write it, but how we say it, I'm gonna travel this weekend, okay? Again, that suggests that I've already decided, I've already made plans to travel this weekend. It's already planned. I'm gonna travel, okay? We also use gonna to talk about predictions, specifically about the weather. I think it's going to rain this weekend. I think it's going to be cold. I think it's going to be nice, okay? Usually when we talk about the weather, we say, going to make predictions. Not just about the weather, this could be predictions in general. I think it's going to be a really good summer. I think it's going to be a really nice holiday season. I think it's going to be great. Okay. Usually use gonna for prediction. All right. And also to suggest an action that's already planned, already decided. That's number one. Number two, I'll. Again, distinction from I will. I will is like very strong. I will travel this weekend. I promise. It's very strong when you say I will. But I'll is softer. And I'll suggest a spontaneous decision. We're deciding in this moment to do whatever action follows. I'll travel this weekend. I've just decided. Maybe I'll do my laundry this weekend. Maybe I'll see friends this weekend. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. That's why I'm saying I'll, okay? Maybe I'll go to a museum, all right? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll have salad for lunch today, right? When you decide right now, you say, I'll. Here, you need a hand? I'll help you. You need a ride to the airport? I'll give you a ride. We would never say, you need a ride to the airport? I'm going to give you a ride, right? If you say that, I'm going to give you a ride, it's very strong. It's suggesting that is definite. That is planned. That's already decided, okay? So I'm gonna and I'll, very different connotation, very different association to native speakers' ears, okay? All right, so that's numbers 1 and 2. Number 3, let's talk about number 3. That's the present progressive. Now, I did another video on just the present progressive. Present progressive is usually used for an action that's happening right now. I'm talking into this microphone, right? I am talking. This is an action that's happening right now, or more broadly defined, these days, right? Like this month, these past few months, this year. If you want to define now in a more broad sense, you would say, I am talking, I am traveling, I am exercising a lot these days. So present progressive is usually used for an action that's ongoing, that's not complete, that's happening now or these days. But be careful, you can also use the present progressive to talk about future actions that are already planned, just like number 1, just like I'm gonna. So if I say I'm gonna travel this Christmas or I'm traveling this Christmas, it means the same thing. It means that you've already decided, you've already planned your travels. It's in your, Google Calendar, whatever. It's in your smartphone. It's in your diary. You already have a schedule. You already have a plan. I'm going to travel this Christmas. I'm traveling this Christmas. So when you say I am traveling, that's present progressive with this Christmas, a time clause, okay, then you are suggesting that you've already planned this action. So you can use the present progressive with a future time clause to suggest an action that has already been decided, already been planned. And that's a super common construction that native speakers use, okay? It has the same association, the same connotation as I'm gonna, as number 1, already planned. What are you doing this weekend? Do you have plans? Yes, I do have plans this weekend, right? Let me check my schedule. Okay, on Saturday, I'm seeing some friends. Saturday night, I'm going to the movies, okay? Sunday morning, I'm running a marathon, okay? Sunday afternoon, I'm taking a nap, okay? So you can use the present progressive with a time clause to suggest an action that's already planned. And we use it all the time, okay? So that's number 3, present progressive. Number 4, simple present. Okay. Usually we use the simple present to discuss an action that is always true or generally true, right? Every day I brush my teeth. Every day I exercise. Every day I drive to work. Okay. Every day I walk to school. These are routine actions. You can also use it to describe scientific facts. For example, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. To describe opinions, I love New York, we use simple present, okay? But you can also use the simple present to describe scheduled actions, scheduled events that occur in the future or that will occur in the future. For example, the movie starts at 7 p.m. tonight or on Friday, right? The plane leaves at 9. All right. The bus arrives at 10. All right. My flight departs at noon. Okay. Notice these are future actions, right? They're not happening now. They're not generally true. They're not always true. They're future actions that are planned, that are scheduled. For scheduled events, we do use the simple present. scheduled actions, right? The plane leaves, the movie starts, the class begins. Okay, scheduled actions use simple present. Future action, scheduled, simple present. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Now, this is a very special case because we are actually shifting perspective with future progressive. The way we shift perspective is with the word by. When you use the word by, you're shifting your perspective into the future. Okay, so now we're talking about the future, but our perspective, our viewpoint, our frame of reference is actually the future. Okay, so by 7 p.m., we'll be flying to Florida. Okay, imagine tonight at 6 p.m., my plane departs. Simple present. My plane departs at 6 o'clock p.m. tonight. That's a scheduled action, so I say simple present. My plane departs at 6 p.m. Now, the plane is going to fly to Florida. Now, imagine I'm in New York and I have to fly to Florida. What is that? 3 hour flight, maybe. New York to Miami, say that's 3 hours. Okay, so that's an ongoing action. If my plane leaves at 6 p.m., what's going to happen at 7 p.m.? By 7 p.m., I will be traveling to Florida, right? That's future progressive. It's an ongoing action. It's not finished at 7 p.m. It's an ongoing action that is occurring over an amount of time. So we use the future progressive with the word by to talk about an ongoing, a long action that's not finished in the future. Okay, we also use the future progressive in question form to soften the question, to be a little bit more polite. Okay, so this is a really common construction that's used to sound more polite. All right, so if I say to you, when will you leave? When will you leave, right? When will you leave? That's a question in simple future. When will you leave? It's a WH question, simple future using will. When will you leave? It sounds a little bit rude if I ask a question that way. So if I want to soften that question, if I want to make it gentler, a little bit nicer, I can use the future progressive. Even though this is not a long action, like to leave a place, it's usually short. Okay, he left. It's short. But if I want to sound nicer, I want to sound softer, I want to sound more gentle, I could say, when will you be leaving? Okay, so if you go to a nice restaurant, you might notice this. What will you be eating? What will you be choosing? Nice waiter, waitress, they don't usually say, what will you eat? What will you be eating? Do you know what you'll be having? Okay, what will you have? What will you have for dinner? It sounds it sounds rude. What will you have for dinner? But if I say, what will you be having for dinner? It sounds nicer. It just sounds nicer. It sounds softer. So we use the future progressive in question form to soften the question a little bit, even though it's not a long action, right? It might be a long action, it might not. But we use the progressive to soften that question, okay? When will you leave? I would say that's rude. When will you be leaving? That is more polite. It's softer, okay? So we can use the future progressive in question form to be more polite. Okay. All right. So that's just a quick overview of the 5 main ways that native speakers talk about future actions. Most of those, the perspective is the present. Okay. The future progressive, sometimes the perspective is the future. All right, so let's have a look at the conjugation really quickly. Going to, all right, this is said, we say this gonna, I'm going to, I'm gonna travel. Conjugation there is the subject, the verb to be, going to, and the base form of the verb. For yes or no question, we have to be, am, is, are, the subject, going to, and the base form of the verb. For example, are you going to eat lunch now? All right. WH question, we have the question word, the WH question word be, subject, going to, and base form of the verb. Where are you going to eat lunch? Or when are you going to eat lunch? Okay. Conjugation of will, statement form, very simple, subject plus will plus the base form of the verb. Yes or no questions, will, subject, and base form. Will you eat? All right. Again, it's a little bit rude if you don't soften it with the progressive. Will you eat? And then the WH question word will plus subject, base form. When will you eat? Where will you eat? And again, you could say, where will you be eating? Progressive tense, just to make it softer. Okay, so that's conjugation. Pronunciation, I like to cover pronunciation the way people actually say this on the street, like normal, everyday conversation. So I'm going to leave for New York City this weekend. That's already planned action. We would say, I'm gonna leave, right? Gonna. Everybody says gonna. Nobody says, I'm going to leave. It's always gonna. I'm gonna leave. You're gonna leave. He's gonna leave. She's gonna leave. Okay. We're gonna leave. That's first person plural. We're gonna leave. You're gonna leave. Second person plural. They're gonna leave. Okay. They're gonna leave. They're gonna go. They're gonna travel. So it's a slight R sound in gonna. They're gonna leave. Okay, what about I will? Now, again, there's a different association between saying I will leave and I'll leave, okay? Grammatically, it's the same, but in terms of connotation, association, it's very different. I will leave. I promise. I will leave. If you want me to leave, I will leave. I will leave. That's a very strong statement. I will leave. I promise. I'll leave is much more relaxed. It's like, okay, I'll leave. I'll leave. It's like I decided right now, right? I'll leave. Okay. So grammatically the same, but in terms of nuance, in terms of meaning, very different. So let's take a look at the pronunciation. I'll leave. It's like I'll leave. You'll leave. Second person singular. You'll leave. Third person singular. He'll leave. She'll leave. It's a hill. It sounds like a hill, like a mountain, a hill. He'll leave. She'll leave. She'll leave, he'll leave, okay? Or he'll walk, he'll talk, he'll drive. She'll walk, she'll talk, she'll drive, all right? First person plural, will, it just sounds like we'll leave. All right, we'll leave now. We don't say we'll leave now. We say we'll leave now. All right, we'll leave now. We'll talk now. We'll drive now. We'll go now, okay? You'll, second person plural, you'll leave, you'll drive, you'll talk, you'll see, you'll be, okay? You'll leave. And then third person plural, they'll, it's just they'll leave, they'll talk, they'll drive, they'll study, okay? They'll. All right. So that's the pronunciation for gonna and I will for statements. Now let's take a look at the question form. Okay, these are pronunciations, reductions for question form. Let's start with gonna. Question form, right? Question form, you just start with the verb to be, am, and then subject. Am I gonna leave? Am I gonna leave? Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna talk? Are you gonna drive? Second person. Third person, is he gonna leave? Is he ever gonna leave? Is she gonna leave? Is he? Is she? Is he gonna talk? Is he gonna walk? Is he gonna drive? Is he gonna eat? Is he gonna leave? Okay, is he gonna? Is she gonna? Is she gonna talk? Is she gonna walk? Is she gonna drive? Is she gonna leave? Okay, third person, singular, with she. These are question forms with going to. Okay, what about first person plural question? Are we gonna leave? Are we gonna drive? Are we gonna drive? Right? Again, that suggests it's already planned with the expression going to. Are we gonna leave? Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna drive? Are you gonna talk? Are you gonna walk? Third person, are they? Are they gonna walk? Are they gonna talk? Are they gonna drive? All right, now let's look at I'll. Let's look at the question form pronunciation. Will I leave? Will I talk? Will I drive? Will I? First person. Will ya? Will you leave? Again, that's kind of rude. We would say, will you be leaving? If I want to be polite, progressive. But will you leave now? Will you leave? Will you drive? Will you talk? That's second person question form. Will ya? Will ya? Will he? Will he leave? When will he leave? Will he leave? Will she leave? Will he leave? Will she leave? When will he leave? When will she leave? Okay, that's third person singular question form. First person plural, will we leave? When will we leave? When will we go? When will we talk? All right. When will we? Will we? When will you leave? All right. That's second person plural. It's the same as second person singular. Will ya? When will ya? When will you drive? When will you leave? When will you talk? When will you study? When will you travel? All right. Third person plural. Will they? When will they leave? Will they? When will they leave? Okay. When will they drive? When will they talk? All right. So that's the pronunciation. and reductions for going to and will. All right. Okay, so that's my talk on the future tense. Again, today's focus is just on the simple future and the future progressive. I am going to do a video on the future perfect and the future perfect progressive. That's where you shift your focus into the future using the word by. But today's focus is just on the simple future and future progressive. For simple future, I'm talking about the future from the perspective, the vantage point, the frame of reference of the now, okay? For the future progressive, again, I do sometimes shift my perspective using the word by, but we can also use the future progressive in a question form to be more polite. All right, so let's do the worksheets now. There's three different worksheets I'm going to give you. The first one is a listening part. It tests listening comprehension, but it also tests your understanding, intuitive awareness of these different verb constructions that we covered in the first part of the video. So that's the listening part. The second part is a circle the correct answer. It's like grammar and context to see if you can figure it out. That's number 2. And then number 3 is, I think it's the most difficult part. It's the editing. To edit something is to like correct something. And so I'm going to give you a paragraph. There's 6 mistakes, and I'm just going to ask you to find the mistakes in the use of the simple future or the future progressive. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the dialogue. This is a conversation between Peter and Allie. They're having a discussion about their holiday travel plans. Okay, so please listen to what you hear and just write down in the blank spaces what you hear. Again, this tests your listening skills, but it also tests your intuitive knowledge of the different verb tenses that we covered. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the screen here. All of these worksheets, by the way, you can download for free if you want to from my website. I'll include the link if that's helpful for you, or you can just look at the screen and jot it down, write it down as we go forward. So please have a listen to the dialogue. All right, and then let's check in just a minute. Let's talk about why it's going to, why it's will, why it's present progressive, why it's simple present. Why do we use all the different of the five verb tenses talking about the future? Okay, so have a listen and let's chat in just a minute. Okay. Hey, Allie, have you thought about our holiday travel plans yet? They're saying it's going to be a very cold winter in the Northeast, and it might be nice to travel someplace warm for Christmas.
Hey, Pete. Yes, I wanted to talk to you about the holidays as well. You remember that I'm traveling in early December for that conference in Orlando, but after that, I wasn't sure. What do you think? Are we going to want to visit my family on the West Coast this year?
That's what I wanted to talk about. I'd love to visit Los Angeles this Christmas. It would be nice to see your family, but also there's that new film museum in Burbank, and it opens on December 22nd. Tickets are going to be hard to get, but I'll bet that my friend Rob is going to be attending opening night, and I think he could get us tickets.
That sounds like fun, and it'll be nice to see my family again.
Definitely. And will your mom be visiting us this November?
She's thinking about it. She's traveling to Maine in October for some leaf peeping with that tour group. They're saying it's going to be a really peak leaf season this fall because the summer was so warm. She hasn't decided yet, but maybe she'll come visit us after that and stay through Thanksgiving if that's cool with you?
Absolutely. Will she be staying in our guest room?
That was my plan. I'm going to replace the comforter and pillows on that sofa bed and repaint the walls so it's more inviting up there.
Good idea. I'll help you with that project.
Thanks. I think it's going to be a fun winter.
Okay, so I hope you had a chance to listen to the dialogue. Let's have a look at the answer key. We start with Peter. Hey, Allie, have you thought about our holiday travel plans yet? They're saying it's going to be. Okay, now they are saying, have you noticed the pronoun they, it refers to almost everybody. It can be this sort of amorphous authority figure or generic term for like somebody out there. Look what they did to the grocery store. Look what they're doing to this new road. Look what they did to the movie. Oh, they're releasing a new iPhone. Okay, they is like basically everybody that we don't know is they. Okay, but in this case, they refers to I think it's the Weather Channel in this case, right? The weather forecasters. So they're saying right now, that's present progressive. They're saying it's going to be a very cold winter. Gonna is how I would say this. They're saying it's gonna, okay, but going to is how we write it. So it's the same thing, right? Going to written, gonna spoken. And that is used to make predictions about the weather. I think it's going to be nice. They are saying it's going to be a very cold winter in the Northeast. So it's going to be. And it might be nice to travel someplace warm for Christmas. Allie says, hey, Pete, yes, I wanted to talk to you about the holidays as well. As well means also. You remember that I'm traveling in early December. Okay, I am traveling. That's present progressive. It's usually used to talk about actions that are happening right now. Right now, I'm talking into the microphone, right? Right now, you are listening to a video on YouTube, or you are watching a video on YouTube. It's happening right now. But when I use the present progressive with a future time clause, this summer, next Christmas, right? 2030, for example, future time clause. Now, suddenly, that's a future action, and it's already been decided, just like going to, just like gonna, okay? So Allie says, you remember that I am traveling in early December, right? She uses the present progressive with early December because Allie has already made travel plans, right? She's not deciding in this moment. These plans have been made already, so I am traveling in early December. What do you think? Are we going to want to visit my family on the West Coast this year? Now, people would say this, are we gonna want? But it's written, are we going to want? That's just question form of gonna. Okay, Peter, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'd love to visit Los Angeles this Christmas. It would be nice to see your family, but also there's that new film museum in Burbank, and it opens on December 22nd. Okay, opens, that's simple present. We use that for scheduled actions. Bus, train, plane, movies, classes, or in this case, an opening of a museum. It's something that's scheduled, so we use simple present. It opens. Even though it's the future, we still use simple present, scheduled action. It opens on December 22nd. Okay, tickets are going to be hard to get, but I'll bet that my friend Rob is going to be attending opening night, and I think he could get us tickets. Okay, so tickets are going to be hard to get. That's a prediction. We don't know for sure. We don't know absolutely that they're going to be hard to get. Hard to get, not available, right? Very popular, like new iPhone, right? Sometimes it's hard to get if it's really popular. So tickets are going to be hard to get. That's a prediction. We say gonna, but I'll bet. Use I'll when it's a spontaneous decision right now. I'll have some lunch. I'll bet. So it's spontaneous. I'm doing that bet right now. I'll bet. Bet is to like make a wager, to make a guess, to make an estimate. So I'll bet that my friend Rob is going to be attending. Is going to be attending. That is future progressive. So that's a long action. It sounds like opening night is going to be, I don't know, 5-6 hour event. It's going to be a long night. Okay. Opening night is like a big deal. And when you attend opening night, it lasts for a while, right? So it's an ongoing action. So Rob is going to be attending opening night. I'm suggesting, or Peter is suggesting, that that's a long action, his friend's attendance of opening night. So Rob is going to be attending. That's future progressive. And I think he could get his tickets. Allie says that sounds like fun. And it'll be nice to see my family again, all right? It'll be nice, right? Again, that's sort of a spontaneous statement right now. It'll be nice. All right, definitely. And will your mom be visiting us this November? So Peter is asking a question using the future progressive to be polite. Will your mom visit us this November? It's perfectly fine, but it sounds a little bit strong. Will your mom visit us? You can say, will your mom be visiting us? If you want to sound just a little more polite, it's a little more gentle to use the future progressive in a question form. Will your mom be visiting us? Also, it's appropriate because when his mother or her mother visits, it's like a long action, right? When someone visits you, it's usually for, I don't know, a few days, maybe a week. So this is an ongoing action. So it's also appropriate to use the future progressive. Will your mom be visiting us this November? She is thinking about it. That's present progressive. She is traveling to Maine in October. All right. She is traveling, present progressive, in October, future time clause. It means she's already made plans to travel to Maine. For some leaf peeping. Do you know leaf peeping? It's like just to go peep, to watch, to see, to enjoy, to watch the leaves. It's very common on the East Coast United States. So she's traveling to Maine in October for some leaf peeping with that tour group. They're saying it's going to be a really peak leaf season. Once again, they refers to the weather people, and it's a prediction, so it's going to be. It's going to be. They say it's going to rain. They say it's going to be a nice fall for leaf peeping, okay? That's a prediction, so going to this fall because the summer was so warm. She hasn't decided yet, but maybe she'll come, okay? Maybe she'll come. We say she'll or I'll or you'll or he'll, she'll. It's when a decision is spontaneous, organic in that moment. So with this statement, she hasn't decided yet. Okay, there's no decision yet. So that's why we say she'll. Maybe she'll. We don't know. All right, so maybe she'll come visit us after that and stay through Thanksgiving if that's cool with you, if that's okay with you. Absolutely. Will she be staying in our guest room? Future progressive. It sounds more polite, and it's an ongoing action in the future when their mother visits. Will she be staying? That was my plan. I'm going to replace. You say I'm gonna replace, or you can write it as I'm going to. I'm going to, that's just simple future. I'm going to replace the comforter and pillows on that sofa bed and repaint the walls so it's more inviting up there. Good idea. I'll help you with that project, okay? He says, I'll help you, not I'm going to help you. He says, I'll help you because the decision to help Allie has come to him in that moment. It's a very spontaneous decision that occurred to him right now. So he's saying, I'll help you. Okay, Allie says, thanks. It's going to be a fun winter. Again, that's a prediction. We don't know for sure that it's going to be a fun winter. It might be, it might not be, but she's making a prediction. So we say, or she says, it's going to be. And that's written, going to be, spoken, gonna be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a fun winter. Okay, so that's her prediction. Okay, all right. So that is the listening part. All right. I hope that was useful. Let's move on to part 2. All right, there's 3 parts to these worksheets. Let's go on to part 2. This is choose the correct answer. So please have a look at this paragraph here. You'll see there's 5 questions, and just see if you can decide which form of the simple future or future progressive is correct in these 5 questions. So please have a look at this worksheet, circle the correct answer, and I'll come back in just a minute, okay? Okay, so let's have a look at part 2. This is a conversation between Robert and John. It sounds like they work for a touring band, and they're talking about the future, okay, future actions. So we start with Robert. Hey, John, the band, what do you think? A, B, or C? The band'll tour? The band will touring or will be touring next week? Letter A is incorrect. The band'll tour, right? That sounds like the band has just decided to tour, right? I'll tour. I'll help you. I'll have lunch, right? If a band is going to tour, obviously that band has made arrangements. They've made plans. That's a very complicated endeavor, right? That's a huge undertaking for a band to go on tour. So obviously they've made plans. So letter A is incorrect, right? That would suggest that the band is deciding to tour right now. So it's not A. What about B? Will touring? Okay, that's an incorrect usage of the future progressive. Future progressive with will would be will be touring. So we've just left out the B. That's a mistake in the conjugation. So B is incorrect. Will be touring looks like the correct answer. That's C. Why do we use the future progressive? Because it's an ongoing action. The band is going to be touring for a long time, or the band will be touring for a long time. Remember, future progressive, I can say will be touring or is going to be touring. The more common construction is will be touring. So don't forget the B, will be touring next week. Can you give me a hand with this case? Do you know, give me a hand? It's like, can you help me? Right? This case is something that holds, it's like a container. Can you give me a hand? Can you help me? Give me a hand. So Robert is asking John in this moment, can you give me a hand with this case? John says, sure, I'll help you. That's A, I'll help you, right? That means I'm deciding to help you right now. It's a spontaneous, natural decision that's being made right now, so I'll help you. B is incorrect. I'm going to help you. That sounds like John has already made plans to help him. That's not appropriate in this context. See, I am helping you. That's the present progressive. Once again, we use the present progressive for an action that's happening now over a long period of time. We also use the present progressive with a future time clause to suggest an action that's already decided. Neither situation applies here. So I will help you. That's A. I'll help you. Wow. Oh, wow. This is heavy. Are both speakers in here? Robert says, yeah. And one of the amplifiers for the guitar. Thanks. John says, no worries. No worries is like, no problem. It's okay. No worries. Number 3, will you be put down? Will you going to put down? Are you going to put down? Okay. So do you know the phrasal verb put down? Put down has many different meanings. In this context, it means to like drop something gently or to set down. Like here, I'm holding this glass of water. I'm going to put it down. Put it down, right? I put it down on the table. It's to set something down. To put down a person is when you're like rude to somebody. You say something really nasty to someone. That's a put down. So in this context, it means to set down. The phrasal verb set down. All right. It doesn't take that long to set something down. It's very short, right? So we're probably not going to use the progressive. We can use the progressive if you want to be really gentle, really polite. But these two guys, John and Robert, it sounds like they're like roadies for a band. So I don't imagine they're going to be super polite to each other. So they're probably not going to use the present progressive in a question form. Will you be putting it down? I mean, maybe, but probably not. It's a very gentle, very formal way of speaking. So probably not going to use the future progressive in question form. Will you going to put down? Will you going? That's also incorrect conjugation. It should be will you put down. Okay, so will you going to? That's incorrect. C, are you going to put down? That's correct. Are you going to? Are you gonna? Are you gonna? So by saying are you gonna, John is suggesting that Robert has already made plans, already made some decisions about where he wants to put down the box. And it sounds like he has. So C is correct. Are you going to put down? Robert, I wanted to put this one in the supply closet. Actually, I have a better idea. Oh, I have a better idea. So I'm deciding right now, right? Robert is making a decision right now. He has this idea right now. So it's B. I'll just move. I'll just move. All right. It's decided right now. I'm going to be moving this box. That's future progressive. No. When you move a box, short, right? Short action. And again, decided right now. So I'll just move. All right, moving on to number 5. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's okay. We should probably pack the rain gear for the keyboard. They say, what do you think? A, B, or C? Remember predictions about the weather? They say it's going to rain next week. Okay, so number 5 is C. It's going to rain. Okay, so let's move on to the editing. This is a letter from Daniel and Lisa to Isabella and Roberto. There's 5 mistakes in the simple future and the future progressive. See if you can take a look and find those mistakes, and then I'll come back in just a minute and let's talk about those mistakes. Okay, I'll see you soon. Okay, awesome. So let's look at this letter. This is the editing, the third and final activity in the worksheets. So let's have a look. Dear Isabella and Roberto, thanks for your email. It's great to hear from you both. We're so glad you visit us on Thanksgiving. We're so glad you visit us. Be careful, right? That's the simple present. We use that for scheduled actions in the future, like bus, train, plane, movies, for example. This is not a scheduled action, right? They're coming to visit them for Thanksgiving. We also use the simple present for habitual actions, repeated actions. You know, for example, every year Macy's organizes the Macy's Day Parade. That happens every year. We can use simple present. Neither of those cases apply in this situation here. So we're so glad you visit us. No, it should be we're so glad you're going to visit us because it's a planned action. You're going to visit us. You can also say we're so glad you'll be visiting us. That's future progressive, because it sounds like, they're going to visit for a little while, several days. So it's really up to you as far as your focus. Do you want to say you'll be visiting, future progressive, emphasize the ongoing nature of that action, or do you want to say you're going to visit us, you're going to visit us, and that just emphasizes that that action is already planned, okay? But both of those are perfectly acceptable in terms of grammar, all right? So we're so glad you're going to visit us, or you'll be visiting us on Thanksgiving. I know you mentioned how you guys wanted to experience American holiday customs while you were in the States. Okay, that looks good. All the grammar there looks good. You asked us, simple past, that looks good. You asked us about our upcoming plans for the holidays. Everything looks good, okay? This Christmas season, we're going to starting our shopping early to avoid the stress we experienced during the holidays last year. We're going to starting. Okay, that's incorrect usage of the future progressive. It should be we're going to be starting. So you could say that, but that emphasizes that you're starting your shopping is taking, it's an ongoing action. It's taking a long time. Usually it doesn't take very long to start something, right? You start your shopping, you walk into the store, and boom, right? It takes 2 seconds to walk into the store, and now you've suddenly started your holiday shopping. So probably, I wouldn't use the future progressive for starting something. So you could, again, if it takes you a long time to start, you could say, this Christmas season we're going to be starting. Okay, that's okay. But I think the better answer would be we're going to start. Simple future, we're going to start. Because in my mind, starting something is not a long action. To me, it's a short action. All right. So again, this with language, right? It's never like math or science. Like this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. That's what's so fun about language. It's kind of like an art. It's all about nuance. It's all about impression. It's all about subtlety. So it's what do you want to emphasize? I would say this Christmas season we're going to start. Because in my mind, starting something is a short action, not a long action. But again, it's up to you. All right, so we're going to start our shopping early to avoid the stress we experienced during the holidays last year. All right, makes sense. I remember we waited until the last minute, and when we tried to ship everything to our extended family, that's like cousins, aunt, uncle, relatives, okay, to our extended family on the West Coast, there wasn't enough time. That sentence looks good. On Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, the mall going to opening at 6 o'clock a.m. Okay, so that is actually incorrect usage of the future progressive. And in this case, so that it's wrong conjugation. It should say the mall is going to be opening at 6 o'clock a.m. Again, you could say that, but I wouldn't say that because when a mall opens, right, in my mind, that's a short action. So I wouldn't use the future progressive to talk about a mall opening because the mall opens at whatever, 7 a.m., 8 o'clock. I don't know when it starts Black Friday, but usually it's early. So the mall opens at 7. It takes 1 second and then the mall's open. It's not a long action. So I would say in this situation on Black Friday, the mall opens at 6 o'clock a.m. It's a scheduled action, so I would use simple present. You could also say the mall will open at 6 o'clock a.m. You could also say the mall is going to open at 6 o'clock a.m. And you could say is going to be opening at 6 o'clock a.m. If you want to stress, the focus on the activity of opening, you could use the progressive. Again, it's all about nuance. It's all about emphasis. But because it's a scheduled action, I think most people would probably use the simple present. The mall opens at 6. Remember, simple present is used for scheduled actions in the future. Bus, train, movies, and malls opening. So simple present, that's what I would say. I think that's probably the most common answer. The mall opens at 6 o'clock a.m. All right. Last year, it opened at 7 o'clock a.m., so it opens earlier this year. That looks good. Okay. We are standing in line with everyone else for hours to take advantage of the bargains that will be available. Okay, that's actually incorrect. All right, that is an incorrect use of the present progressive. We are standing in line with everyone else for hours to take advantage of the bargains that will be available. So that sentence, we are standing in line, that's the present progressive. And then you've just got a bunch of prepositional phrases after it, with everyone else, for hours. Okay, so this sentence is missing a future time clause. Remember, you can use the present progressive to talk about future actions that are planned. For example, Next summer, I'm traveling to Tokyo. Next summer, that's the future reference, a future time phrase in this situation. Next summer, I am traveling to Tokyo. So by saying present progressive with either future time clause or future time phrase, you're suggesting that this action is already planned, it's happening in the future. So in this sentence, we are standing in line, that's the present progressive, but we're missing either a future time clause or a future time phrase. If you just use the present progressive without a future time clause or a future time phrase, you are suggesting an action that's happening right now. I am talking into the microphone now, okay? I am talking into the microphone, period. It's happening now. There's no future time clause. There's no future time phrase. So if you said we are standing in line next Friday, okay, that could work. But in this situation, no, we are standing in line. There's no future time clause. So let's change that sentence to we'll be standing in line. That's the future progressive. We'll be standing in line. Or we're going to be standing in line. That's also the future progressive, less common construction, but perfectly fine. Or you could say we're going to stand. We're going to stand. Simple future. I think the best answer in this sentence would be will be standing in line with everyone else for hours, because 4 hours suggests a long action. So to me, that's the future progressive. Will be standing in line with everyone else for hours. To take advantage, to use, to take an opportunity, to take advantage of the bargains that will be available. If you're free, if you're available, would you guys like to join us for shopping that day? All right, since you'll be in town. Where you will be staying, okay? All right, so future progressive is correct in this sentence because it's going to be a long action. This is just a problem with conjugation, with word order in sentence format. So just be careful of word order in WH questions with future progressive. The correct word order would be where will you be staying? The WH word will, subject, be, and then the present participle ing. So where will you be staying? And that is perfectly appropriate construction here because they're going to stay for a long time. So, and it's also really polite. Where will you be staying? Where will you stay? Again, it's okay, but it's a little bit direct when you just say, where will you stay? So where will you be staying? That's a good answer for those two reasons. It's polite and it's also an ongoing action. So future progressive question form. Where will you be staying? And I think that's our fifth mistake in the editing here. The rest looks good, right? You know you guys are always welcome to stay with us. Also, when does your flight arrive? That's simple present, so that's perfect. Simple present for planes, trains, buses, classes, movies, anything that follows a schedule. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. All the best, Daniel and Lisa. All right, so those are your 5 mistakes. Okay, so let's wrap up here. Really quick, I just want to quickly summarize the 5 takeaways from this video about simple future and future progressive. Number 1, I'm gonna travel this weekend. That's used for an action that's already planned, also to make a prediction about the weather. Number 2, I'll travel this weekend. That's simple future. That's used for something that is decided right now, right? I'll travel. Contrast that with I will travel, which is very strong. It's like a promise. Okay. Number 3, I am traveling on Friday. That's the present progressive. We often use that with a future time clause or a future time phrase to suggest an action that's already planned in the future. It's very similar to number 1, I'm going to travel this weekend. I'm traveling this weekend. It's really the same thing, okay? Present progressive with future time clause. That's an action that's already planned. Number 4, the plane leaves at 6 o'clock. That's your simple present. That's for scheduled actions, bus, train, planes, and movies. Simple present. Number 5, that's the future progressive. Again, be careful with that one because when you use the word by, we do sometimes shift our perspective into the future. I'm going to do a whole nother video on that where we talk about the future from the perspective of the future. That calls for the future perfect and the future perfect progressive. Again, another video. But number 5, by 7 p.m. we'll be flying to Florida. That's the future progressive. It's a long action. It's not finished. You can also use the future progressive in question form to be more polite, right? When will you leave? It's a little bit, rude. When will you be leaving? It's softer. It's gentler. It's more polite. It just sounds nice. Future progressive question form. All right, that's my talk. That's That's my summary. That's my spiel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to do another one, as I said, on the future perfect and future perfect progressive. If you found value in this video, I would appreciate if you could give it a like, a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. So thank you so much. Until next time, stay active. I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.